Okay. All right. Okay. Now close my room. I got it to work. You want to plug back in the camera? What? You want to plug it back to the camera? No. Okay. I don't want you to do anything anymore. I'll let the dogs from over there. Hi, layered love universe. Let's move this camera. Oh, that looks better. Supposed to go live in 1 minute. I've been trying to get everything set up. Can you hear me good? Tell me in the chats if you could hear me good. Can you hear me good? Okay, good. I have a mic on. There it goes. All right. Trying to make sure I got everything correct. Okay. All right, it is 7:45. We're gonna go ahead and get started. How are you all doing this evening? If you are coming in, when you come in, please let me know where you're listening from in the chat, right? Let me know where you're listening from in the chat. I would love to know who all is here with me this evening. Tonight's uh, topic is matters of the heart. This is my first time going live, um, so that we could have this conversation together. I didn't want to just talk to you. I wanted us to be able to talk to one another this evening. I'm not in my normal spot, as you all can see. I was getting something else done and rather stay in this area. This is kind of like my work area this evening. So let me see. Looks like we have 3 people in the room. If you could comment in the chat and let me know who you are and what state you're listening from, I would love to know that. Of the heart. Matters of the heart. Hi, how are you doing this evening, Miss Natanya? Um, right. So I am gonna go ahead and get started with our conversation because I know your time is very precious and I don't want to prolong it any longer. Um, in the in what was I gonna say? In the flyer that I put out, I did ask a couple of different questions. Hi, Miss Yovella. I see that y'all are listening from Texas. Well, welcome Texas. Welcome North Carolina. Um, Quekusha. If I said your name wrong, I apologize. Welcome in from Texas. Thank you so much for joining in this evening. As the description state, we are going to talk about different matters from your heart, right? One of them being marriage. If you are married, please put that in the chat if you are dating or if you are single. Put that in the chat. Those that are married, I would like to know something that you learned during your marriage that you think will help someone else out. No matter how long you've been married, something that you learned about yourself and something that you learned during the longevity of your marriage. That you think will help someone else out in order to have a successful marriage. Marriage is something that we go into having one fairy tale notion about it, but then we end up having to learn that it's not the fairy tale that we imagine it to be sometimes. And I'm not saying that in a bad way whatsoever. I'm saying that in a way that you 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 expect it to just work. A lot of times when you get married, you just are like, hey, we've been in a relationship, we've been talking, we love each other, we know each other, and it is just gonna work. Every day is not gonna be roses, but everything is going to work out really easily. And then when you run into those bumps um, during in the road, a lot of times it becomes a little bit more difficult, and you have to learn different things along the way. The next category that we do have is going to be dating. If you are currently dating, what is something that you have learned in your dating journey that you were not thinking about or considering when you were single? What is something that you now have to overcome? Something that you learned about yourself, something that you learned, like boundaries, new boundaries that you're realizing you are having to formulate. And the last category will be singles. So for all of those that are single and are in their single moment. So I'm saying you're not dating. You are single and you are in your single moment and you're happy about that. What is something that you are learning even in your singleness? Sometimes we step away from dating. Some people are happy being single and want to remain single. And some of us, in our singleness, we forget that is also a happy state, a happy place as well. It's not that we're single and wanting to be dating or wanting to be married. Sometimes the season of life that we're in, it calls for us to be single. And in that state, a lot of people say like they're working on themselves or they're just enjoying it. And what are some things that you are doing in your singleness that you find enjoyable? Some things in your singleness, or some things that you learn during your singleness that will help somebody else in that same season of their life. Okay. I am taking a look at the chat. I'm going to share some things. So when this topic first came to me, what I was thinking about is how back in the day, um, love just seemed so simple, like puppy love. It was just so simple. And when I say back in the day, I mean when we were younger, like high school, college days, before we had kids, before we um before we had kids, before we had bills, real bills, before we were hurt. Puppy love was like, man, this is awesome. This is beautiful. Things just seem so simple. You just, you had the opportunity to love people just as they were, right? So whether it be in high school or in college, You had that opportunity to love people just for who they were. You weren't expecting them to have already made it. You weren't expecting them to already be established. Um, you had a chance to get to know them, whether it been in school or in high school or in college, middle school. It could have even been from elementary school. You knew their innocence before they had to struggle or had a true heartbreak or something like that. And during that time, love just seemed so easy because you did not have to consider um, all of the things that we consider after hurt, all of the things that we consider after heartbreak. You know, once you've been hurt or once you've experienced a heartbreak, then you're like, okay, now I know the things that I will not tolerate again. Now I know what my boundaries should have been, or now I know what not to look for. And sometimes we're thinking of those things or moving into love or relationships based on that hurt from that past relationship rather than with a rather than with a clear mind or a clear slate, right? So sometimes we move in that hurt. um and it's okay to move in that hurt if we're allowing, this is my opinion. Let me say that everything that I say on this podcast are my opinions. They're not facts. I'm not a doctor by any means. I am not a therapist. Um, and if you're coming in, please go ahead. Let us know in the chats where you're from, where you're listening from, what state you're listening from, so that we know that you're here with us this evening. Um, Now back to what I was saying. So a lot of times we look through the lens of that hurt and not through the lens of trying to get to know a person for who they are sometimes. And a lot of times that hurt has taught us a lot, right? Taught us a lot about ourselves, taught us a lot about what we need in the future and what we won't tolerate. But we have to make sure that when we're looking at people, we're not judging them based on our hurt, but we're looking at them through our new boundaries that we have created that hurt has taught us, right? Does that make sense? Um, and that's those are things that I'm learning, right, in my journey. I hate that I keep saying the word right. I apologize. But in my journey, those are things that I'm learning. I'm learning to not allow my past situations and circumstances to make me fear, right? But to allow my past situations and circumstances to establish my boundaries and establish how I move off of those boundaries. And understanding that not everybody is my past, is those that I've dealt with in the past. Um, and getting to know people for who they are individually, right? Let me see. And even being single, I what I enjoy about being single is that I have this time to not only work on myself and who I am as a person and as a human, but work on myself um, as to loving myself. Being able to go out to eat by myself and not feel a type of way and not have to sit at the bar. I can sit in the booth by myself. Um, Being able to also go to the movies. One ticket, please, just for me. Being able to go to the movies by myself And just having that ability to even sit with myself and write. I write poetry. Um, as you should know by now, if you've been watching my podcast, I write poetry, and that used to be something I enjoyed doing when I was younger, and I stopped for years. I stopped doing it for many, many years, and last year I started doing it again, and I realized how much I enjoy it again. I truly enjoy just being able to sit and write and the way my mind thinks when it comes to poetry. And I like when I think of a topic and it just flows. I, I hate when I'm thinking of something and it's like I'm having to press or force my way into that actual subject. I like for it to just flow. I started writing. I did not finish, unfortunately. I did not finish the poem for this week, but I did start it and I have a little bit down. And so I am going to take this moment as intermission to go over, well, to read to you all this week's poetry. The topic of it, of course, is matters of the heart. Love used to be so simple, felt like we were going mental. Heart felt heart felt so big, so tight, and so light. They took up so much space in our mind. It was like our world just aligned. We would be so excited just to hear their voice, so delighted just to share their space. It didn't matter the day, the time, or the place, just as long as we were together. We could imagine our forever with them. Being with them made time stay still, made you feel emotions you never thought you'd feel. You longed to be in their arms and feel their embrace, just couldn't wait to kiss their face. You lay on their chest and plan your life together, even though you didn't have two dimes to rub together. He'd run his fingers through your hair, massaging your mind and calming all your fears of losing him and praying your love will never end, preparing yourself to meet all of his kin and spending time in their presence. That's as far as I got. I am going to finish it, and once I do, I'll record it and I'll post it. Um, I enjoy spending my time just with myself, whether it be even in my bed in the evening. Once all of the kids have gone to bed, I will just sit down and whether it's right, whether it's watch my shows and not having to worry about what somebody else wants to watch or worry about whether or not I'm bothering someone or the TV's too loud for them. So I'm definitely learning that I can enjoy my singleness because when you have a partner, you can't do all of those things all the time because you have to consider them. Consideration is a huge part of being married and being in a relationship. Consideration. You have to make sure that you are considering the other person's feelings and considering how you're affecting them or how the things you say or do will affect them as well. That is something that you should always do in a relationship and in the marriage. You should consider your partner. When you're out and about, just taking that time out to consider them, get them something just to show them that you were thinking about them. Make their day just to show them that you were thinking about. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be big. It could simply be their favorite candy, their favorite coffee, um, a painting that made you think of them. It's something really simple. Yes, that was my phone. My apologies. That's something really simple that you could do to just show them that you were thinking about them. Or if someone invites you out saying, hey, let me check with my wife. Hey, let me check with my husband. Let me make sure that he doesn't already have plans for us during that day or time or something like that. That shows that you are considering them. And consideration is a huge part when it comes to love, showing somebody that you love them, considering them, and considering how this is going to affect them. Um, when people are around you, uh, when you're in the presence of others, right? And let's say you and your partner are in the presence of others, even the conversations that you're having with the other people that you're around or the things that you're doing um, is going to affect your partner. So you have to make sure that you're considering them when you are on, you know, it is a social media world, and I don't have a problem with it because I am on social media. But even when you are liking posts or responding to messages or sending messages, you must make sure that you are considering your partner. If my partner was to see this, how would my partner feel? If this conversation was happening right in front of my partner, will I be just as comfortable to have this conversation? You have to make sure that you're always considering your partner when you are in a relationship. When you're single, you don't have to do that. Welcome in, welcome in. I see someone else has just came in. If you could come into the chats and let me know where you are listening from, what state, I greatly appreciate that. And thank you for spending some time with me this evening. We are talking about matters of the heart, dating, relationships, being married, and being single. Because all three of those stages are very vital stages. And you don't want to be so eager to jump into the next stage that you're not um, taking the time to take in what you can learn during that specific stage. You know, a lot of times as human beings, we think the grass is always greener on the other side, right? You could be in a marriage and feel like it look like the single people having a lot of fun, so you want to be single again. It's not fun out here. Don't do that. It's not fun out here, okay? Don't ever leave a marriage because you think it's fun out here. It's not. It's not fun out here. What are the grass that you have? Unless there is a reason why you need to get out, I'm never going to tell anyone to stay anywhere that they should not be. But what I'm saying is, water that grass. And you'll see that that grass that you have can be just as green as the other grass as long as you water your grass. Water your grass that you have for sure. And even with singleness, water yourself, water your grass too. Because, like I was saying earlier, when you're dating, there are things that are required of you that are not required of you when you're single. You, when you're single, don't have to consider anybody else. But when you're dating, you do. And you should. If you want to have a successful relationship, you should consider your partner. Okay. Um, let me see. I'm just taking a look at something for a minute. Can y'all hear the music in the background? I put on a playlist that was clean love songs was the playlist that I put on. So I hope you're having the opportunity to enjoy that. If you have any questions, feel free to put that in the chat. If you have any comments or any advice, put that in the chat too. Whether you were single or in a relationship, you have to consider choosing, making a daily choice, right? If you're in a relationship, you want to make sure that you're making a daily choice to choose your person daily. A lot of times we talk about love. Well, people fall in and out of love. It's a fact. People fall in and out of love. Love is not always going to last. Love is not always going to carry you into the next season of your marriage. You have to make sure that the person that you're with, you like them. So the days when you don't feel like you love them, because it is an emotion, got to make sure that you still like them. Make sure that you still like that person and don't mind the fact that right now you're getting on my nerves. You're annoying me. I don't love you right now, but I like you. Because love is a choice. Saying that you love somebody and actually acting on that love for them is a choice. Love is a choice. It is a verb. It is a action word. You show someone that you love them based on your actions. We all love to hear the words, I love you, but you have to show me that you love me based on your action. And that is even on the days when you don't like me. I mean, when you feel like you don't love me, you know at the core of yourself that you like me as a person. And you liking me as a person, as a human being, as your friend before you love me will dictate how you treat me. Because if you don't like me, but you have love for me or love me, then on the days when you feel like you do not love me, it becomes difficult to treat me um, in a good manner, to treat me kindly. When I was married, even on the days when I was upset, I'm still going to be concerned about you. I'm still going to make sure that you eat, make sure that you have what you need, make sure your lunch is packed for work the next day. Because even though at this moment I am angry at you, I'm not going to negate who I am to you. Now, when you do not like someone at all, that's very difficult to do. And when you're angry at them, it shows that you're angry at that person in the way that you treat them. You speak to them poorly and you say things that you cannot always take back. So you have to make sure that you like the person. Now, if I had somebody on here that was currently married and has been married for many, many years, they will tell you this that even on the days I was mad at my spouse and did not feel like I loved them at that moment because I was mad at them, I still was able to show them love because we already had a friendship built and we liked each other as a person. I see that a couple of more people have came in the room. If you could let me know that you're in the room in the chats and let me know what state you're listening from, I greatly appreciate it. Um, what was I talking about now? Yeah, I did lose a train of thought. Oh, choose that person, choosing the person. You have to make sure that you're choosing the person daily. And when you're single, make sure you're choosing you daily. And choosing you daily, you don't have to feel guilty about choosing you. That is something I struggled with for a long time, especially being a mother. Choosing me and not choosing my kids, my spouse, everything else, that was so difficult for me. But you have to make sure you choose you because if your cup is empty, you can't pour into nobody else's cup. Your cup has to be full. You have to make sure that you're pouring into you, because when you are depleted, you have nothing to give anybody else. You're snappy, you're quickly annoyed, you're frustrated, you're overstimulated, like you just want to crash out. If your cup is empty, you have nothing to pour into anybody else. So you have to make sure that you're choosing yourself daily and pouring into yourself daily so that you'll have something to pour into others as well. Okay? Choose yourself daily. When you're married, make sure that you are choosing, or in a relationship, make sure that you're choosing your person daily. But you still have to pour into yourself first, but make sure you are also pouring into your person once you have filled up your own cup. There is a couple, um, what is his name? Kadeem and Kadeem and is her name Ellis Ross? That doesn't sound right. Kadeem and Ellis Ross, they have a book that's called We Over Me. Y'all can help me out in the chat. What is Kadeem's, what is their spouse's name? Is it Kadeem and Ellis Ross, I believe? Um, they have a book called We Over Me. They said, and I purchased their book, and they said that one day she had woken up and he asked her what did she had to do that day, and she made told him a long list of things that she had to get done that day. And he asked her, so where do I fall in that list? You've listed out everything that you have to do for everyone else, but I wasn't on that list at all. So where do I fall on your list of priorities? And that was her wake up call. That was when she realized that, hey, I am prioritizing all these other things, but I'm not prioritizing my spouse as well. And they learned that once they began to pour into each other as a priority, they didn't have to be depleted in themselves because their spouse was pouring right back into them, right? And that's something I think sometimes we forget. Welcome in. I see someone else has came into the room. If you could let me know in the chat where you're listening from, what state you're listening from. I would love to be able to see that. Thank you so much. Duvall, thank you. Kadeem and Duvall Ellis, thank you so much, because I gave them a whole new last name. I gave them a whole new last name. I'm over here saying Kadeem and Ellis Ross or something. But yes, I own their book and I've listened to their book and I really like it. They talk about how they had to learn to choose each other every single day, how to make each other a priority every single day. A lot of times, especially when we have kids, we make our kids the top of our priority list in our relationship, and then we kind of give each other what we got left at the end of the day. We put each other at the bottom of the list, but you have to make sure that you are constantly pouring into that relationship if you want to reap the benefits of it. Just like your car, your home, everything needs maintenance. Yourself, everything has to be maintained. And if you are not maintaining these things, they are going to break down. Just like you have to go to the doctor, you have to also pour into your relationship. There is a 777 rule that has been going around for a little while, and I like it. Every 7 days, let's see if we can get this right. Every 7 days, have a date night. Every 7 weeks, spend the day together. Take off of work, spend the day together. No kids. And every 7 months, go on a trip together. And that is just to make sure that you are keeping your relationship fresh. A lot of times what we do is we get married or we have kids and we stop dating. We stop dating each other. We stop taking time to get to know each other. We just stop. Same thing with singleness. In my singleness, I will go to the grocery store by myself on a regular basis, or the store, or get my nails done. I will do something for myself by myself at least once a week. It just gives me the opportunity to clear my mind of all the children and everything I have to do with them, or even just the noise and not be overstimulated. Um, and I like it. I started this about a year ago and I've been doing it every single week. Once a week, I leave the house for a couple hours all by myself. I don't even welcome in Tasha. I don't even tell the kids where I'm going. I'd be like, hey, I'll be back. And I leave. I have ways of watching them. And my oldest is old enough to watch everyone in the house too. So I get up and I leave for a few hours just by myself. And that pours into me. It clears my mind. I don't have to worry about nobody bickering and begging for anything, crying about anything. I don't have to worry about none of that. I'm not at work, none of that. It's just time just by myself. And then in a relationship, you have to continue to date each other even after you're married. You know, this is something that sometimes some relationships don't learn until it's almost too late. Hey, we stopped dating each other. Hey, we stopped spending time with each other. Hey, we stopped pouring into each other. And dating became, or being married became like y'all are roommates. Y'all just live in the same house. Y'all just splitting the bills, helping each other pay the bills, helping each other take care of kids, and that's it. And that's not fun. It's not fun for nobody. Nobody enjoys that at all. What it took to get her is what it's going to take to keep her. Still spend time with her, still pour into her and him. I apologize. I kept saying her and him. But when you're single, don't forget about yourself. Do the same thing. So I was saying I go out once a week by myself. Sometimes it's just to the nail shop. I don't even tell nobody. I just leave. And then a couple days later, my kids will notice, oh, mom, your nails is a different color. When did you get them done? That day that I disappeared on y'all, that's when I got them done. And then even with a vacation, I try at least to have one vacation every year all by myself. Once a year, I'll have a vacation for a number of days all by myself. I have plenty of vacations with my children, but to vacation by myself gives me a time to just unwind. I don't have to work. I don't have to mommy. I don't have to wife. I don't have to, of course, I'm not wifing right now, but you understand what I mean. I don't have to do any of that. I just get to sit with myself and pour into myself and do whatever I want, spend how little or how much money I want because I don't have to worry about anyone else during that time frame. So when we're by ourselves, pour into yourself. And when you're in a relationship, pour into yourself, but also don't forget to pour into your relationship, pour into your marriage, pour into your spouse. Don't pour everything you have into your kids that's going to grow up and leave you. But make sure you are pouring into and cultivating, continue to cultivate yourself and continue to cultivate your marriage as well in those times. You all are more than welcome to put any comments, any questions, or anything like that in the chat. This is supposed to be a discussion between me and you all. Any advice that you have learned along the way, put that in the chat as well. I would love to know it and to share it with everyone else that's in the room as well. Um, so I've already discussed not to exhaust yourself trying to make it work. And so that's the same thing. When you're single, remember to enjoy your singleness. Don't exhaust yourself trying to date all the time. what is supposed to happen is going to happen, right? Those people that should be in your life are going to come into your life. I'm not saying be a hermit crab and stay in your house all the time and saying God gonna send my husband to my door like he's a UPS man or something, or send him via Amazon. That's not what I'm saying. But don't exhaust yourself. When I first became single, I got on the dating apps because that seems to be the way to do it. And definitely exhausted myself trying to respond to all the different conversations, trying to keep up conversations, trying to figure out why this person ghosted me, trying to ghost somebody else myself. Don't exhaust yourself. Just let it happen. You don't believe any men are out. Well, something that I have learned is that I won't say those words because remember, your mouth has power, your words have power. So I don't say that there are no men out here. I just say that my husband ain't found me yet. And I'm just patiently waiting on him because the clowns that are coming around ain't him. That's it. But I'm not going to say that there are no good men out there because I believe that they are. Because a lot of times we see them other places like podcasts, and we see them with other, we see other relationships that we enjoy watching, right? Or other relationships, and we see how their spouses are treating them, and we're like, oh, that is so nice. I would love to have a man that would do that. So that right there are my hope that there are good men left. We just have to become and remain the woman that we know that good men that we know we want to be for that good man. I didn't want to say it the wrong way because I didn't want to say be the woman that that good man wants. Be the woman that we are, fully, and the woman that we want to be fully. Be that, work on ourselves being that, and that good man is going to find us. He is. He's going to find us. We just got to make sure we're not in the house like a hermit crab. So my kids tell me all the time, Mom, go out. You're a homebody. I posted that on Facebook the other day. How my kids keep calling me a homebody. And I'm going to try this summer. It's hold me to it. I'm going to try to go out of the house once a week, somewhere where I know that the type of man I'm looking for would be looking for me. So that's not going to be a club. I'm not going to find the type of man that I desire in a club. So I'm not going to a club. Um, when I say club, I mean a dancing club. Now, the type of man I desire might be at a golf club. So I might need to go there. Or golf club, what's that? That's called a country club, right? So yeah, yes, yes. So both of us will have to be outside. Yes, we'll have to go outside, but go to the places. They keep saying that they're at Home Depot early in the morning on the weekends. So maybe that's where we need to go because if they're at Home Depot, then that means they know how to fix something. Also means they might have a house. So we may need to get up nice and early and go to Home Depot on a weekend sometime to see if that's where they're hiding. But I've heard country clubs. I know that there's this jazz spot I want to visit. Because I like jazz. That's why. There's this jazz spot I want to visit. Um, just keeping our ears to the ground to find out about different events, and you have to think, like, envision the type of man that you picture yourself marrying and think, okay, where's this man gonna go? Where's the place that he would be at? And put yourself in those rooms. That's what I think, but I just still don't be wanting to leave the house, but I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get there to where I'm leaving the house. Yes, I'm trying to get there to where I'm leaving the house, but that's the hard part. Um, And the dating apps are different, man. There's a lot of them out there. What I did learn about the dating apps is certain ones you don't have to pay for. So I don't pay for no dating apps anymore. Yeah, I'm giving y'all my business. I don't pay for no dating apps anymore at all. When I first got single, I was doing all that. I don't do it no more. But some of them, if as long as y'all both match with each other, then you could talk to each other for free. So you don't have to pay for them at all. And so I am on two dating apps still. I just don't open them on a regular basis. Every once in a blue moon, I may go and browse, but I don't want it to consume me. I don't want it to consume my day. I don't want to be focused on that. So I just leave them there as a way of putting myself out there. And then if you have a dating profile, do not have on your dating profile everything that you don't want. That defeats the purpose. You sound like a nagger. Put on your dating profile who you are, you know, who you are. Think about the fun things about you, not the roles that you play, but the things that you enjoy doing, your fun hobbies. Please, if you can, also hit the heart to like the screen for me. But think about your fun hobbies, the things that you enjoy doing, the places that you enjoy and feel the most at peace at. Think about those type of things when you are formulating your actual dating profile. I have seen some profile that has I don't want this and I don't like that. And if you got drama and you got 5 kids and you got this and you got that, I don't want to know all the stuff you don't like. Those are the ones I will scroll right past. Oh my gosh. I look at some of your posts that you put up and just be cracking up, but you're telling the truth. These are the situations that we run into that are absolutely hilarious. Um, and people will do the craziest things, especially catfishing. That right there is hilarious. You post that you look like this, and then in real life you don't look nothing like that. Y'all having too much fun. Y'all talk about women with filters. Y'all having too much fun with them filters out there. Okay, so moving on a little bit, how to strip away from adult expectations and get back to the core feelings of just enjoying someone's presence. That's something that we have to learn as well. It's not always easy because especially if you're marriage minded, if you're marriage minded, I see your comment exactly. If you're marriage minded, yeah, we need to have a bloom pop here in our local states. Oh my goodness, it's hilarious. But if you're marriage minded, you have to make sure that when you are going out and dating, you're not doing it with the mindset of, okay, is this person my husband? Okay, I want to get married right away. I want to get married in 6 months. So you want to get married in 6 months or not? But instead, paying attention to your values. When I say values, I mean your core values of life, not your boundaries, not your red flags at that moment. Pay attention to your values. Does this person's values align with your values? Are these things about them a complete deal breaker because their values don't align with you? That should be the first thing that you're looking at is you all's values. You know, you don't want to come in with a strong head conversation like at the very beginning, but you want to integrate those into your conversations to where you are learning what their actual values are, um, to identify whether or not y'all could potentially be a actual match and live in that moment. I'm not saying to ignore the important things, but live in that moment, meaning stop trying to plan your future. Us as women, we're always trying to plan our future. We're always trying to plan our future, trying to see if this person fits into our box of our future. But instead, date them, get to know them, live in that moment, see what their core values are, See what their upbringing is. Do you all's values actually mesh together, or are they polar opposites? And that is how you determine in the beginning whether or not you should continue having a conversation with them or not, to see where it goes or not. Um, their values, like my value is believing in God and believing in Jesus as the Son of God. If I'm talking to somebody and that's not what they believe, our core values do not mesh. We're not going to, we can't continue, because one of my big things that I want is somebody that really can cover me truly. When I say cover me, that means cover me in all aspects of life. And if your core values and your core beliefs when it comes to religion are different than mine, then you cannot cover me, right? You can't cover me because your mindset isn't, or your leader isn't the same as my leader. Okay. We don't have the same leaders. So therefore, that core value doesn't meet. So it's not going to work. I have a big family. If you're somebody that hates kids and never wanted any kids and never wanted to deal with kids, that ain't gonna work because I got a lot of them. That's not going to work. And those are things that can be identified very, very early on, when you are focused on getting to know somebody, and not trying to place them in a place in your life for the future. Let me see. I have like an outline of certain things, that topics that I want to hit. Um, so I'm looking at that. When did we decide that love had to be so stressful? That it had to be so difficult? It's not. It's not that difficult. I know. I feel like social media has made it really difficult. I don't know if everybody else feels like that, but I feel like social media in a way has made it really difficult because everybody's comparing every part of life with somebody else, a stranger that they don't even know, life a lot of times. And that has made everything so difficult. It's not simple anymore. And when I say simple, it's not just me and you just really just getting to know each other by spending time laughing, giggling, um, bowling, just the simple stuff. I know there was a whole debacle on social media about where to take somebody out to eat. Listen, if I'm just now meeting you and you're just now meeting me, let's go to the coffee shop. I don't even drink coffee. Let's go to the park for a walk. Let's go to the ice cream shop. Our first meeting does not have to be at a Ruth Chris. I ain't never been to Ruth Chris in my life because I don't eat steak. But these expectations that has been set out on social media are crazy. Each and every person, yes, you can have your own expectations of things that you like and you desire. But when you are trying to actually get to know someone, try to get to know them for who they are. Them being able to take you to Ruth Chris for one night does not tell you whether or not they're wealthy or not. Because they could be using their entire check at that one meeting at Ruth Chris and then have no money later on to pay their bills. So that tells you nothing about them. That doesn't tell you if they broke. That doesn't tell you if they got money. So you try to do something like that to determine whether this person has money or not is crazy. You want to know how you can determine if they have money or not? Look at those shoes, right? I said that, I did. Look at what card they choose to pay for, whatever y'all are getting with, whether it's a credit card or a debit card. And even if it's a credit card, what kind of credit card it is. But that's a whole different discussion. I'll teach y'all about that later on. But that's not the point. How much money they have in their wallet isn't necessarily the point, because there are a lot of people that are wealthy but are stingy. So they can be wealthy and then be stingy, meaning they're not going to spend any money on you anyway. So why do you want to waste your time with somebody like that? You want somebody that is going to be generous. He had four cars from a junkyard. So it was just four cars looking nice, but couldn't take you nowhere. Couldn't take you nowhere. They all were broken down. None of them was going to work. So don't focus on things like that. You have to learn the core of a man. And really, if these men really, if you know your power as a woman, you could take a man that is, now I'm not trying to say here, you could take a man that is making it, that is middle class, that is has a good job, um, and that is moving decently in life. And as a woman and pouring into him, you could take him from here to here, pouring into him. You can elevate him so easily. Now, you want somebody that's at least starting out equivalent to you, but from there, you can elevate him. You can completely elevate him by pouring into him. Truck drivers, so I have very mixed emotions about truck drivers. I do. Because the stigmatism is that they cheat, like when they're driving. So, wait, hold on, let me say this. You got to talk about whether it's a truck driver that goes from state to state or a truck driver that is local, like he makes deliveries and he comes home every night. So, that is a big difference. But the ones that go from state to state and drive for the long haul, the stigma is that they yeah, over the road. So the stigma is that they cheat, right? But we can't put everybody into a category because people can make categories about us too. You have to really get to know his personality. You got to give him a chance. Well, I feel like I would give him a chance to get to know him. And you can notice when it comes to cheaters, there's certain things that they say and they do, and you know that they're still looking. Um, a lot of times when people say things, we hear it, but then we listen to what we want to hear. You understand what I'm saying? Like they could tell you that they're interested in being able to, what is it called, sow their yokes, or they're interested in they don't believe in monogamy, right? But we feel like, oh, but with me, you'll believe in it. I'm gonna be such a good woman to you that you'll believe in it with me. So getting to know people for who they are and listening with our good ears to what they're saying. Because men, people will tell on themselves if we're listening with our good ears and not listening with the desire to be in a relationship. That's something that I know I've even learned in my life. But I heard a lady telling a story about her father, and the story that she told. This is a really good story. The story that she told was her dad was had a woman over, and the woman was cooking, and the phone rang. She gave the phone to her dad, and it was another woman on the phone. He answered the phone. He spoke to the woman for a second and told her, "Hey, I'm busy right now. I will talk to you later." And the woman said, "Okay," and hung up. And so after the woman that was cooking for him at the time had left later on that evening, she asked her dad, didn't you feel awkward or feel caught when this other woman called you while you had this woman at the house?" And he was there openly talking. It wasn't hiding. When you had this other woman at the house, and what her dad said to her, she said she is taken everywhere in her life. He said, I can tell a woman the truth, and I don't have a problem telling a woman the truth because a woman's going to hear what she wants to hear, and she's going to think about herself however she wants to think. What that meant, what he was telling her and explained to her was that a lot of times as women, and I stopped and I thought about it myself, and I was like, he's telling the truth. A lot of times as women, a man can tell us that he is actively talking to different women at the moment. And if you want to talk to him bad enough, you'll tell yourself that you're the one that can take him off the market. The woman will tell herself that she's better than everybody else and that she will take him off the market, even though she knows at that moment he's on the market. She'll tell herself that, hey, once he actually gets to know me, he won't want nobody else. And the other thing he said to her was, the prettier they are, the bigger the lie is that they'll tell themselves because they think highly of themselves and they feel like they're the ones that will um, get him to stay with them only, right? So, what I'm saying by that is, as women, we have to hold ourselves accountable that we are listening to what he is saying as a man. And if you're listening with your good ear and not hearing what you want to hear, you'll learn a man's character. You'll know a man's character. I've seen this happen time and time again in my life because a lot of times I'll be trying to hear what I want to hear. I do. I'm being honest. And then when what I know I heard actually happens, I'll be like, girl, you already knew that. Why? Why? Why did you stay where you shouldn't have stayed? You already knew that this was going to end like this. And a lot of times, because we've already had experience in life, we know. So when you see what you see and when you hear what you hear, go ahead, put on your big girl panties and walk away. And walk away. I have to remind myself of that. You know what you heard. Don't sit down here thinking that you could change the situation. You can't. He said what he said, and you heard what you know you heard him say. So stop trying to convince yourself of otherwise. Stop trying to convince yourself of otherwise. Yeah, a lot of men will tell us exactly who they are, but we a lot of times will fall for our imagination of that man or the way that we desire for that man to be or the potential that we see in that man. But instead of falling for the potential of that man, see who he is right now, not his potential, right now. Who is that man right now? And that is how we should make our decision whether or not to move forward. It's based on who he is now, not his potential, and not the imagination that we have created as to who we can make him be. That also, a lot of times, is my downfall. I know who I am. I know the gifts that God has given me. And I know I can take you from Joe Blow and make you Jack Black because I can pour into you and I can push you and I can speak life into you. I know that as a good woman, a good wife, a good spouse, those are gifts that God has given us as women to do. So I know that I can elevate you. So I will look at your potential rather than exactly who you are. And I have been having to learn to stop doing that. I need to see who you are. Is who you are today the person that I am going to be okay with being with if you do not change at all? Your personality today, can I live with that? Will I be happy with that? Because if I can't live with that and I can't be happy with that, who you are today, then I do not need to sit around and pretend like I can change these things about you. I have to take you for who you are today. Yeah. And a lot of times that's difficult for us because we be like, hey man, we could change this, we could change that. Now, hey, if who you are today, I can live with it, then I still know that, hey, I can still make you better. But I got to be able to like who you are today. Like if you meet a smoker, don't be like, oh, I can get him to stop smoking. No, baby, you can't. If you can't deal with a smoker and you don't like smoke, don't sit there and convince yourself that you could get him to quit and you could get him to stop smoking. And so that is the reason why you should still spend time with him right now. No, you don't like smoke and you know you can't deal with a smoker, so walk away. Walk away. Don't try to convince yourself to stay. Let me see. Right, there's a fine line between building healthy boundaries and building complete walls that everyone has to try to kick down, and that keeps everybody out. Yes, and that keeps everybody out. It is no, you're fine. Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, I understand what you're saying. You're sorry you did that. Yeah, I've done it before. I did it too. I did it too. And I was like, what are you thinking? But well, what I was thinking was when I was younger, I talked to a guy that smoked, and when we wanted to date, I told him I don't do. I, we were talking as friends, and I was like, I don't mess with that. I don't mess with any Mary Jane. You can't smoke around me. You can't be a smoker dating me. And he said, give me 30 days. And I said, okay. And within 30 days, he did quit and he stopped. And so I took that mindset from when I was younger, but it ain't the same when the person is like 40 years old. He ain't quitting, he ain't stopping for you. So if that's not something that you like or you're okay with, leave it alone completely. But the next thing was there's a fine line between building healthy boundaries and and creating a wall to completely keep people out. So right now we are in the era of boundaries, which is not a bad thing. It's an excellent thing. Creating our boundaries and standing on them. So we're in the era of boundaries, but sometimes our boundaries got so many blocks in them. We done created a whole brick wall that can't nobody even get into. So we have to make sure that we are paying attention to that fine line to make sure that you have boundaries that are absolutely healthy, and then you have non-negotiables, right? So your non-negotiables are things that it's a no. There's no way possible that I'm going to date somebody like this. That's a non-negotiable. And then healthy boundaries are, hey, I'm not going to accept this disrespect. This disrespect, if this occurs, I'm going to walk away. And maintaining your actual boundaries. So let's say that your non negotiable is a smoker. That could be your non negotiable. I don't date smokers. That's not something I want in my life. That is a non negotiable. So the moment I know you smoke, I'm walking away, because that is a non-negotiable. There's no question about it. There's no talking about it. Nothing. It's a non-negotiable. And then you can have healthy boundaries. Like if we say that we're exclusively speaking to each other, the moment it is confirmed, the moment that it is confirmed that you are talking or entertaining someone else of the opposite sex in a inappropriate way, I love myself enough not to sit here and have a full on conversation with you about this. Once we've confirmed that that's what's going on, I'm going to walk away. That is a healthy boundary because you are disrespecting me at this point in time. That's a healthy boundary. But now saying that because you were born in February, I can't talk to you. Heavy drinkers, absolutely. Yep, that's one of mine as well. That's a non negotiable. But now saying I can't talk to you because you were born in February, is that really a boundary? Is that really a boundary that should be created? No, that is built off of my past hurt, my past experiences. Um, so is that something that I could still get to know somebody from? Yeah, I can still get to know you because you may not be anything like the people that I know that were born in February in the past. You might not be nothing like them, but because somebody that was born in February hurt me before, I'm like, oh, now anybody born in February, I'm not going to talk to. Anybody brown skin, I'm not going to talk to. Anybody with the same name as my ex, I'm not going to talk to. I'm laughing, but these are things I have created in my head. I was like, anybody with that name, I ain't talking to them. Anybody in February, I ain't talking to them. And who knows? My potential husband might have been born in February on the other end of it. Yes, Sasha. I'm like, listen, I have to learn what is a true boundary and non negotiable, and what is just something that, hey, I need to be cautious in this area. It doesn't have to be a brick wall for this area. I just have to have caution in this area. Know what to look for, know what to look out for, know what to keep my ear up for, you know. If you have met somebody and they are love bombing you, or their representative is in the room when you first meet them, you have to give it time so that you can get to know them. And once you've gotten to know them and you realize that they exhibit qualities that are not okay with you, the moment you notice that they've exhibited those qualities that are non-negotiables for you, as long as you can get up and you can walk away from that situation, you're showing that you have grown from that situation. Now, if you see that they exhibit qualities that are not okay with you, and you know that are an issue, but instead you're trying to convince yourself that it will be okay and it will be different that time, that shows you that you still have work to do. You still have work to do on yourself, because as long as you are fully aware that these are qualities that are not okay with you, no matter who they are being presented by, you should be able to remove yourself from that situation, and walk away from that situation. Don't be in such a desperate state or a desperate mind that you're allowing things that you know are poor qualities to still sit within your space. So those are things that should definitely be put in your boundaries categories. And not all red flags, before I leave, I do want to say not all red flags should be a runaway, because every human, I don't care how y'all want to say it or think it, every human has red flags, has something that would be considered a red flag. So each and every red flag, you should be able to determine, okay, is this red flag a boundary, a non negotiable, or is this red flag workable? Now that I've said that, I don't want to just cut off at that. So, what I'm saying by that, what I've learned, and what I'm saying by that, and these are again my experiences, my opinion, nothing I'm saying is a fact. I am not a therapist. These are what I have learned from my experiences and what I have learned from others. But red flags. should not all red flags should be a runaway. Certain red flags are going to be in your non-negotiable category. Other red flags, like let's say you don't like people that smack because it's annoying. Well, that is something that can be discussed, right? Or you feel like somebody with more than 3 kids underneath 18 is no. Who knows? That person could end up being the love of your life. Those kids could have taught them how to be humble. Those kids could have taught them how to allow their ego to die. Those kids could have taught them how to be caring and how to be considerate. Those kids could have taught them a whole lot of things. So even though that may have been in your, oh, I don't want that category, it could still end up, that person could still end up being a blessing in your life. So those, you have to determine, of course, what your absolute non-negotiables are, and what your, okay, this is a red flag, but it can be explored type of a thing. Everything should not be, I'm a walk away, because then you end up running out of every single situation. But there should be some things that are 100% non-negotiable, and some things that are, oh, okay, this can be explored. Not saying this has to be accepted. I'm saying it can be explored to see to see where we can go next, or if, hey, this is not gonna work for me at all. Um, so it is 9 p.m. now, Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. If you all have any final thoughts or any final advice, please feel free, or questions, to put that in the chat so that I could always bring them up. If you have a topic that you would like for me to discuss at next week's or a future podcast, I would love to know what those things are as well. If you have any advice that you would like to leave for me or anyone else, feel free to put that in the chat as well. Thank you so much, Tasha. And thank you for engaging with me as well. I appreciate it. So I didn't feel like I was just talking to myself this evening. Next week will be a pre-recorded video. Next week, the topic will be revealed later for next week, but I would love to do a live again in the future. Thank you so much. I appreciate you very much. Even these things, like coming on live, it's a little bit nerve-wracking for me, but I'm learning to move even when I'm nervous. I'm learning to speak even when I'm nervous as well. I love you all. Thank you for enjoying with me. As always, I am in my pajamas. This one was from Amazon. I don't remember the actual creator of this one. I didn't write it down before I started. But absolutely, it was a great talk. I enjoyed speaking with you as well. Um, Thank you so much, Tasha. I will try my best to continue to do that each and every day. Remember to love on yourself, even in the single season. Love on yourself, spend time with yourself, and enjoy you, because you're an amazing person. Enjoy you. Remind yourself of who you are. Look in that mirror every day and then remind yourself of how beautiful you are. Remind yourself of how great you are, the different qualities that God has given you specifically, and all the different talents that you have. You are multi talented as well. And just remind yourself that, hey, you're a gift. You are a gift. And any husband that God chooses to pair you with will be blessed for you being in his life. Blessed for you being in his life. That goes to each and every one of you all. Remember to pour into yourself so that you can pour into everyone else. All right. Love you all. Have a blessed night. Thank you so much for joining Hope After Podcast for week 3. I will see you all again next week. Goodbye.